Jake Paul. Jake Paul's dead. He's dead. He's not going to make it. Shut the up. I don't give a dude. Look at this. Look at this. He's fighting a professional boxer.
Jake Paul has once again cancelled his highly anticipated fight, this time with the legendary Mike Tyson, leaving fans disappointed. The clash of eras was set to be one of the biggest fights of Paul's career, but he pulled the plug at the last minute like it was no big deal. However, this move isn't sitting well with Joe Rogan, who doesn't take lightly to anyone disrespecting the sport or its icons. Rogan, known for his passion for upholding the integrity of combat sports, had strong words for Paul, calling him out for cancelling on a legend like Tyson. Joe Rogan didn't hold back when Jake Paul cancelled his fight with Mike Tyson, calling him out in a recent podcast episode for disrespecting the sport and dodging a fight fans were excited for. Rogan went off, saying that Jake pulling out was a slap in the face to both the sport and the fans. "You don't just walk away from a fight with Mike Tyson like it's nothing," he said. Rogan wasn't done there, though. He unleashed a scathing rant, accusing Jake of manipulating his fans from the very beginning. While Rogan is no stranger to controversy, this time he went all in, labeling Jake a master manipulator who's been playing his audience for his own gain. Joe Rogan has never been one to buy into the Jake Paul hype. For years, he's questioned Jake's legitimacy as a real boxer, even as Paul racked up wins and built his reputation as an influencer-turned-fighter. Rogan has always called out the smoke and mirrors Jake uses to convince people he's the real deal. But after Jake pulled out of his highly anticipated fight with Mike Tyson, Rogan had enough. In a fiery rant, Rogan accused Jake of manipulating his fan base and the media, making them believe he's something he's not. According to Rogan, Jake has been hyping up fights, building anticipation, and then pulling stunts like this. He's playing his fans and the sport for fools, Rogan said, pointing out how for months Jake promoted the fight as the biggest showdown of his career, only to bail when it really mattered. And honestly, Rogan has a point. Jake's been selling a false narrative for years, and fans are starting to catch on. Joe Rogan, a longtime fan and the voice of combat sports, has seen it all: legends, up-and-comers, and even the controversial fighters who stir things up. But for him, Jake Paul's antics go beyond showmanship. They're a blatant disrespect to the sport. Now that Jake has pulled the plug on the Mike Tyson fight, Rogan is doubling down on his criticism. He blasted Jake for using tactics to keep himself in the spotlight, calling his actions a massive disservice to boxing fans. This fight was supposed to be the fight of the year, Rogan said. People were ready, fans were hyped, and now what? You pull out at the last second like it's no big deal. It's just wrong, man. Rogan has always been skeptical of Jake, never fully buying into his self-proclaimed status as a legitimate fighter. Sure, Jake has some wins. But Rogan has consistently questioned the quality of his opponents and the way Jake manipulates the narrative to make himself look unbeatable. The hype around him has always been shaky, and Rogan's not having it. The Jake Paul vs. Mike Tyson fight was reaching fever pitch, set to be one of the biggest events in combat sports history. After their heated press conference on August 18, 2024, in New York City, the hype was through the roof. Mike looked like he was ready to tear Jake apart, while Jake did what he does best, talking smack and hyping himself up like he was invincible. The tension was electric, fans were going wild, and tickets were selling out faster than concert seats. People were picking sides, the entire fight world was buzzing, and bets were flying. Then Jake dropped a bombshell: the fight is off. All that hype, all the trash talk, all the build-up, and Jake just pulls the plug. It seems like Jake might have gotten a case of pre-fight jitters, and honestly, who wouldn't? We're talking about stepping into the ring with Mike Tyson, a man who literally bit off an opponent's ear. Facing Tyson isn't your average Sunday workout. The psychological toll alone could shake anyone. Jake was facing a legend, and maybe the reality of that was too much to handle. Decades of destruction behind him, Mike Tyson can shake up even someone like Jake Paul. But the fight world did not take Jake's cancellation lightly. Fans feel majorly let down, and Joe Rogan wasn't about to stay silent. If you're not familiar with Rogan's bond with Tyson, let me break it down for you. Joe is basically Tyson's #1 fan. It's like he's the president of the unofficial Mike Tyson fan club. Every time Tyson comes up on Joe's podcast, you can see the admiration all over his face. Rogan, who's been in combat sports for decades and seen it all, still treats Mike like a living legend. Mike Tyson is a living legend, and honestly, Joe Rogan probably has a picture of him on his wall at home. So when Jake Paul, the self-proclaimed problem child, pulled the plug on what could have been the fight of a lifetime,
it was just a matter of Mike Tyson closing the distance. This Mike Tyson, as fast as he was, as hard as he hits, I maintain he's the greatest.
Yeah,
the greatest heavyweight ever.
And with Tyson, Joe was not having it. Let's talk about why Jake bailed. Jake's team claims it's all about timing and business decisions, but come on, we know there's more to it than that. This was supposed to be the fight, the one that could have finally made Jake Paul legit in the eyes of boxing pros. A showdown with Mike Tyson could have completely changed Jake's career trajectory. Stepping into the ring with Iron Mike is next level, and if Jake had followed through, it might have solidified his place in boxing. If Jake Paul had somehow pulled off a win against Mike Tyson, it would have solidified him as more than just an influencer boxer. But let's be real, Jake knew deep down he had no shot against a legend like Tyson. Ever since the match,
obviously devastating news. I'm heartbroken, speechless, gutted. We've been working so hard over here, everyone in this camp, and I just feel bad for everyone involved in this event.
Matchup was announced. Jake's been sweating bullets, and now the pressure finally caught up to him. Facing one of the most feared fighters in history was too much to handle. We're not buying the bad business excuse. Let's be honest, the fight was perfect on paper. The hype was off the charts, Netflix was on board, and everything was set for it to be the fight of the year. So what's the real reason? It's obvious Jake had second thoughts. Jake Paul realized he was stepping into dangerous territory, and the thought of facing Mike Tyson likely gave him nightmares. Instead of stepping into the ring, Jake pulled out, leaving fans and Joe Rogan seriously disappointed. Let's not forget, even at 58, Mike Tyson was gearing up for this fight like a rookie preparing for his debut. The man was training relentlessly, hitting the gym like there was no tomorrow. He was putting in the work, showing the world he's still a
heavyweight boxer. He's still terrifying.
Machine. Tyson was more than ready, and fans were hyped for a showdown that never came. Mike Tyson still has its explosive combos, lightning-fast footwork, and that signature head movement. His power and precision are as sharp as ever. Tyson's jab is deadly, his hooks are brutal, and that famous uppercut. It's still a fight ender if it connects. Even at nearly 60, Tyson's punching power hasn't aged a day. His speed and strength would give any boxer nightmares, and his heavy bag work is straight up terrifying. Jake Paul.
Day 2, we're getting ready for you. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Paul might have thought he was stepping into the ring with an old man, but Mike was training like it was 1986 again. Joe Rogan knows this better than anyone. As he said, if the Tyson that fought Marvis Frazier showed up, Jake Paul's dead. He's not going to make it. Rogan understands the danger Jake was facing. Despite Jake's wins, he still has a long way to go in earning his place as a legitimate boxer. Unfortunately, his recent actions pulling out of the Tyson fight are doing the exact opposite, costing him the respect he desperately craves from the boxing world. Jake Paul is making moves that only alienate him further from boxing's true insiders. Let's face it, the boxing community doesn't respect Jake as it is. His fights against other influencers and MMA fighters haven't convinced anyone that he's a serious contender. By disrespecting a legend like Mike Tyson, Jake is digging himself into an even deeper hole. This latest stunt isn't just a setback, it's damaging his credibility. Jake Paul is making people dislike him, and it's not just fans who are fed up. Experts are furious too. His disrespectful antics have fired up.
Mike Tyson from Marvis Frazier fought Jake Paul. Jake Paul's dead. He's dead. He's not going to make it.
Figures like Joe Rogan, who isn't afraid to call him out. Rogan, a guy who knows the sport inside and out, has made it clear that Jake's behavior is unacceptable and only proves he's not ready to be taken seriously in the boxing world. Jake's recent actions are doing more harm than good. By disrespecting a legend like Mike Tyson, he's digging himself into an even deeper hole and alienating himself from the very community he's trying to impress. If he keeps this up, he might find himself completely shut out of the sport he's so desperately trying to break into. So, there you have it, Fight World. What are your thoughts on Jake Paul getting humbled by Joe Rogan? Fill in the comment section with your opinions. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more boxing news. See you in the next video.